Hey, what's going on, Dodgers Nation? Doug McCain here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all things Dodger baseball all off-season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation question of the day. How do you feel about where the current Dodgers free agents ranked in the Athletics top 50 MLB free agents, and who do you think should be number one? Should it be Carlos Correa like it was, or should it be Corey Seager? Should it be someone else? I want all your takes. Also, give me your rankings for the Dodgers that were on the list. The top 6, I want your top 6 down below in the comment section. And for our latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So how's off-season mode going for everyone? I know it feels like it's slow. I know it feels like it's going to be an eternity before moves get made, especially with them trying to iron out the new CBA and trying to figure out if they're going to have a lockout. But it's going to get crazy at some point, and we're going to be following it the entire way. Now, today, The Athletic, they dropped their list of top 50 MLB free agents, and there were 6 Dodgers free agents featured on the list. Number 2 was Corey Seager. Number 10 was Max Scherzer. Number 12 was Chris Taylor. 22 was Mr. Clayton Kershaw. Then coming in at number 5 was Kenley Jansen. And then coming in at number 50 was Danny Was I Ever Actually a Dodger Duffy. I mean, come on now. Travis d'Arnaud is a Dodgers legend compared to Danny Duffy. But no, he gave it a go. He tried, but it just didn't work out. Now, we're going to start right at the top with Corey Seager. Coming in at number 2, he is going to be the Dodgers' most coveted free agent. He will certainly get the most money on the open market. Now, will he hit the $300 million mark? I don't think he will. I think a sweet spot for Corey Seager, if I were to re-sign him, would be something in the $240 to $250 million range, but his numbers, they speak for themselves. Now, over the last 2 seasons, his last 147 games, he's slashing .306, .381, .545 with 31 bombs, 98 RBIs, a 147 OPS plus, and 5.8 B WAR. And that's the player that we'd hoped that Corey Seager would be. A doubles machine that has some pop. He has that Corey slugger in him, and I think that if you move him off that shortstop spot, he slides over to third base. I think at worst, he can be an average third baseman defensively, and with Corey Seager, defensively, average is good, because right now, he's a below average shortstop. So you take that trade-off based on what he can do with the stick. He has that elite hit tool, and I think if you start comparing him to guys like Nolan Arenado and Manny Machado, those are elite defenders. They also have the ability to hit, but I think that Corey Seager, he's just a better hitter than both those guys, and I think that you'll take that trade-off with the way the game is played today. And another thing, too, I think that will save him some wear and tear. Look, it's a much less demanding position at the hot corner than it is at the premium position that is shortstop, and I think that Corey Seager, he'll improve at the plate when he does slide over to 3B, and it's really interesting because it's not the Dodgers' way. The Dodgers, they covet positional versatility, and Seager has been that one guy that's been locked in to a position, and that is in shortstop, but it's already been reported that he is willing to go to third base. I think it's just about him getting his money, and I think the big debate here is who should be number 1, Carlos Correa or Corey Seager, because if you want to talk about durability concerns, that applies to Correa as well. And yes, Seager has had injuries throughout the years. Some of them have been fluky. Some of them have been more consistent, nagging ones like the hamstring injury. Well, with Carlos Correa, you have that back injury. He definitely has a bulky back, so that would be my biggest question. If I was a team interested in signing Carlos Correa, are those back injuries serious? The fact that he's had so many of them and he's only 27 years old. Oh, and he also has that bruised ego from Joe Kelly. Nice swing, you know what I'm saying. No, I'm just playing. I actually like Carlos Correa as a player. I love the style in which he plays with. I love that passion and tenacity, and for him, you know, it's time to get paid, if you know what I'm saying. But in my opinion, I think Corey Seager, he should be number 1 overall. Now, Corey Seager, he missed 2 months this year after he broke a bone in his hand after he was hit by a Ross Detweiler pitch back in May. Now, when he returned on July 30th, let's check out his numbers. He ended up slashing .335, .417, .592 with a 169 WRC plus, a 2.8 F4 in that span, 12 home runs. You saw the walk rate was up at 12.1%. The K percentage was down at 15.4%. I think if Corey Seager doesn't get injured this year, yes, he did get off to a slow start, but I think he picks it up, and I think his stock is actually higher, especially coming off of what he did in 2020 when he went into God mode, hotter than the devil's armpit, winning the NLCS and World Series MVP. So I think that Corey Seager, if you know he's going to move to third, I think that he should be the #1 player as far as the offseason free agents. But hey, Carlos Correa is a great player too. It's really subjective at this point. So for me, if he's healthy, and yes, that can be a big if at times, but when he is, I think Corey is sensational. I think that they can figure out his durability concerns. I think moving to third will help that cause, and to me, he should be the #1 free agent this offseason. And then the next Dodgers free agent on the list was Max Scherzer, coming in at number 10. And Max Scherzer, he was fantastic. Mad Max, he posted a 1.98 ERA in 68 and a third innings with LA. He was 7-0. The Dodgers, they were 12-0 in his starts before losing to the Giants in Game 3 of the NLDS. But the big issue with Max Scherzer was those dead arm concerns later in the postseason. He went just 4 1/3 innings in Game 2 of the NLCS and wasn't able to give it a go in Game 6. Now, was that a business decision by Max Scherzer like Dave Vassegh was suggesting after the Dodgers lost Game 6? I personally don't believe it was. I do think he was working through some stuff. I think the fact that it was a contract year, he did get traded to a new team, and he was traded to be the savior for the Dodgers and just carry them into the postseason. And then also, you're going for history. He could still win that 4 Cy Young. I still think there's a really good chance between him and Corbin Burns, but if he wins that, he's in rare air as one of the only players to win more than 3 Cy Youngs. It'd be his 4th in his career, and then on top of that, you're trying to get another bag. And I think he's going to be one of those high AAV short-term deal guys. I think a 3-year, $90 to $100 million deal is definitely a possibility for Max Scherzer. And if you just look at these numbers, the guy's just not showing any signs of slowing down. He was 2nd in ERA at 2.46, 1st in WHIP at .86, 6th in FIP at 2.97, 2nd in K percentage at 34.1%, 5th in walk percentage at 5.2%, 5th in F4 at 5.4, and he's had an ERA under 3 for the past 6 seasons if you exclude the 2020 season. So he's been the model of consistency, and I also think he's going to command max money. And don't underestimate his box office value. People pay to come see Max Scherzer. It's different. It's not like you're going to see a bullpen game. If you know he's on the bump, you want to be in the stands. Now, who's ahead of him on the list? You've got Robbie Ray, who's 31 years old, a lefty. He's coming in at number 7. And then Kevin Gausman, who I call Kevin Guzman because he was a different player after he had to ditch the sticky stuff during the year. He has him ahead of him. Now, I guess you got the younger players. I understand that. Probably going to go for longer-term deals. Now, after Max Scherzer on the list, you go 2 spots down, and you find another Dodgers free agent, and that is Chris Taylor. Yes, CT3. Some might think that's a little high for him, but he was outstanding in the postseason. It was an Octaylor for CT3 in the postseason. He led the Dodgers with a 12.02 OPS, 4 home runs, 12 RBIs. He was tied for first with 4 doubles, and he was just fantastic. He was a man on a mission. His teammates called him paper chaser this year, and he definitely secured himself a big bag with his performance in October. And what made it even more impressive to me was he had been riding an 8-for-72 slump. He had really struggled the last few months of the season after making his first All-Star appearance early in the year, and he just explodes in October. It was actually the first walk-off home run in an elimination game in Dodgers franchise history, and the first walk-off home run in elimination winner-take-all game in Major League Baseball since Edwin Encarnacion did it in 2016 for the Blue Jays. So it was a wild night in that wild card game, and I think with Chris Taylor, teams are going to covet that positional versatility, and he can play infield, outfield, corner outfield spot, center field. You can just plug him in anywhere, and he's going to give you solid to above average defense with an above average bat. Now, the only issue with Chris Taylor is that he can go through cold stretches, and this high strikeout rate can be an issue. This year, a 28.7% strikeout rate. In the postseason, he lowered that number to 20.9%, but for his career, a 27.5% strikeout strikeout rate and a 9.3 walk rate. So he's a big boomer bust guy at times, but that's also in a lot of ways how he finds his success. So you want to let CT3 be CT3 out there in the diamond. And to me, this is my biggest fear, because I think you can just plug him in to any team around the league. Teams have seen what Jock Peterson and Kike Hernandez have been able to do since they left the Dodgers. So I'm afraid there's going to be a robust market for Chris Taylor, in that he might have priced himself out of LA. And I know they always say Chris Taylor has never done anything wrong in his life. Well, if he leaves LA, I think that'll be the first thing he does wrong, because I think that he's got a great situation with the Dodgers, and I think that he should re-sign with the boys in blue. Now, after that, you got Clayton Kershaw. For him, it's all about his health. Can he stay on the mound? Because when he's on the mound, he's still effective. The way he utilizes that slider, it's one of the most dangerous pitches in the league. Yes, you've had the velocity dip, but for him, it's about throwing strikes and commanding the zone and getting that to set up those off-speed pitches. His Cooperstown curveball is still a money pitch, and I still think that Clayton Kershaw can be a solid number 3 or number 4 starter with the occasional vintage Kershaw outings, like we saw last year against the Cubs, or the year before that against the Brewers, or throughout the postseason. He had a nice outing in the World Series against the Rays. So I think that Clayton Kershaw can still get it done at this age. And then coming in at number 35 was Kenley Jansen. Now, Kenley Jansen, he's been the model of consistency, and you don't even realize it. 30-plus saves in his last 7 consecutive seasons, a .96 ERA since he was booed off the mound on July 22nd after blowing 3 consecutive saves. So he really turned it around. And what I like about the California adventure these days is we've seen a whole new chapter with that diversified pitch mix. You see him get more confidence in that slider, that two-seam fastball to finish off hitters. That's been his issue in the past, is when that cutter hasn't been working, he has guys down the count but is unable to finish them off. Well, that's not an issue these days. His K percentage has gone up, and he also proved this last October that he can get it done in the postseason. Kenley was nails in October, 0 earned runs in 7 innings pitched. Yes, he gave up that game-winning single in the NLCS, but I think they put him in a tough spot there. I think there's going to be teams that are after Kenley Jansen. And then coming in at number 50 is Danny Was I Ever Really a Dodger Duffy. Now, give him credit. He wanted to be a part of this run. He was a Laker fan. He was a Dodger fan growing up, but it just didn't work out. His health was just not there. He had that forearm soreness. He just couldn't get that arm right. Now, when he was healthy last year, he was effective. He does have that nice pitch mix, but for him, I think the big concern is he going to have surgery? I think with him, you really just have to look for a short-term deal, a prove-it contract with Danny Duffy, but I don't anticipate that with the Dodgers. But for the most part, I am fine with this list. I see people out there, they think that Chris Taylor is too high on this list, but hey, if you're a Dodger fan, you see this guy compete on a day-in and day-out basis. This guy's a competitor. I love that about him. He does it in the postseason. I don't think he was too high on this list at all, especially after you consider what he did for the Dodgers in Taylor. So I'm cool with this list. I do think you could make a strong case that Corey Seager is number 1, and I think that he probably would have been if he had a really good year this year coming off last year's postseason. But let me know down below in the comment section, how do you feel about this list, and how would you rank the Dodgers' top 6 free agents? I'm going to do another video on that a little after that, but I want to get your takes first on it so I can drop them in that video. So be sure to drop that down below in the comment section. And who would you sign to a long-term deal? Corey Seager or Carlos Correa? I want your takes down below. For me, I'm an eager Seeger. I'd take Seeger in this one, but I want you guys to give me your takes. But my name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all things Dodger baseball all off-season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. For all the latest Dodgers Nation merch, head over to GearUp.LA. Download the new Dodgers Nation app. For latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.